Welcome to Buried Truth, where I tell the wildest stories in the Bible with a mouth that still needs Jesus. This isn't a polished Bible study. It's real, unfiltered, and a little bit messy. Ancient scandals, modern mess, and somehow grace still wins. Today, we're going to be talking about Noah. Now, if you've been in the church for a long time, you probably have heard the Noah story, and you might even have had his boat, the ark, and all the animals on your wall. So you know part of the story. And that's good because it's a beautiful story about redemption. But the way I'm going to tell it, it's going to be for those who also have never heard of Noah. Yes, that's possible, people. I've shared before that not everybody grew up in the church and knows all these stories. They may know them vaguely. So I'm going to give it my version, which is a little bit crazy. It is not sanitized at all. So I'm just going to say, I know the story is going to sound just out of control or out of, how do I want to word this? I'm trying to think, because the story itself, if you just read it, you're thinking you're reading a fable or you're watching a sci-fi or listening to a sci-fi because you're not really watching it right now. And it really did happen. And I'm saying it happened through faith, because everything in our life takes faith. Because think about it, when you get in your car and you drive, you have faith that your car is going to work. We put faith in something. So I'm not going to look through it with rose-colored glasses, and I'm not asking you to. Just hear what God is saying through these scripture verses and story. Okay? Okay. Now let's get into it. So who was Noah? So last week I touched on Adam and Eve, and I didn't go, what I could have done is go a different route and go through, let me tell you all of the background of all the people before Noah. Okay. So when we ended Adam and Eve, we ended with Seth. That was their last child, who would down the line have the line of Jesus. Okay. So that's where we're at. So generations go by, and the world just starts wilding out, y'all. They are acting like fools. They needed a nap and a spanking is what they needed. Yes. Because what God says is every intention of their heart was evil. That's how wild they were. Okay. They were. It was worse than a tantrum, y'all. It was vengeance. It was violence. It was just wrong what was going on in the world. And God, it hurt his heart. It hurt his heart. But you know what? And he was ready to wipe the world off. He's like, you guys are too much. You are getting a timeout, and a timeout meaning you did. I told you. And then that is rightful, because if you act wrong, you're going to get in trouble for those things. So God, in his being the judge of the universe, he can do that because he's God and we're not. So he decides, I'm wiping these people off the earth. I can't handle these people anymore, but then Noah, okay. It says in the Bible that Noah was righteous. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. So he did no wrong. He was perfect. That's weird, because I thought nobody was perfect, Rosanna. You've told me that a few times. No one's perfect. And I'm not telling you I understand it, but I did a little bit of digging. And what I understand, don't quote me on it, but what I'm understanding, it's like he wasn't perfect. He wasn't sinless. You'll find that out later. But he trusted in God, and he was obedient to what God told him. So we go down the line, and that's kind of what I've seen in some of the stories where you hear these stories. Oh, they were righteous in God's eyes and all these things. It's usually not saying they're perfect. Okay. So I just want to clear that up. So out of all of these people that have been in the world, only one was righteous in God's eyes. And you know what? God says he remembers his promise. Because if you remember in Adam and Eve, what does he say to Eve and what does he say to the snake? Like the heel will be crushed his head and he will, hurt their foot. That is what we call a prophecy of what's going to come later. And that is exactly what Jesus did on the cross. So that's the connection there. So God made a promise. And here's the thing, he keeps his promises. And so even though this whole world is looking like, y'all lost your damn minds and are just doing whatever you want, whatever you think is okay, my truth, it's my truth. Okay, this gets me, you guys. There is no such thing as my truth, okay? Because it's your truth, it's her truth. If it's truth, there's only one. That's what truth is. Y'all, it's your opinion, and you can have your opinion, but don't be telling me it's my truth. Miss me with some of that stuff. Miss me. Okay, squirrel. And I'll say another thing. We have a tendency to bend the truth to what we are comfortable with. I do it too. Don't think I'm judging you. I'm judging you and I'm judging me. Okay. So I am judging, but hear me when I say the only truth there is who Jesus is and who he said he is and what he came to do. Okay. The truth that's in the Bible, that is the truth. You don't have to believe me. Hey, that's do you boo? Do you boo? And that is your prerogative. Okay. That's your prerogative. But what if I'm right? What if we're right? The ones that believe in Jesus, just something to chew on, I'm not going to make you believe. I'm not going to tell you what to believe. I'm just going to put the facts out there and you do you. Live your life, boo-boo. Live your life. Okay. So Noah, so God decides he's going to wipe these people off the earth because they're bad. They're just bad. They're bad. And he regrets making them. Can you imagine a mom being like, I regret making you? And okay, there are some bad mamas out there that say that I regret making you. It's not your baby's fault. It's not your baby's fault that you were out there in these streets hoeing it up and then you get knocked up. That's not your baby's fault. Here's the difference. God made us and he said it was good, right? When we're in the garden. And then one thing, Adam and Eve did one thing. Eve bit the apple, gave it to her husband. And that one decision changed the course of everybody's life down the line, right? So that's my point. There's no such thing as being perfect. But God was like, y'all don't want nothing to do with me. So here's the thing. He's a gentleman. God is a gentleman, and he will not make you love him. Because then that's not love. That's just, I love you because you told me to love you. We're not robots, okay? So that's a little snippet of that. So he decides he's going to have Noah build an ark, which is a boat. Okay. I should preface this with, during this time, there was never rain. It had never rained during this time after Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden. There was no rain. God caused water to come up from the bottom to moisten, I guess. I don't like that word. Anyway, there was no rain. So this is the big deal. And he tells him, okay, I need you to build this boat. And it's huge. It's like a football and a half. Yeah. Long, 4 stories high. And it was big. It was big. I know that there is a replica in America somewhere, United States, that they do one, and I hear it's ginormous. And think about it. So why is he building this boat? Because God was going to cause it to rain and wipe out in the flood. First of all, I'm afraid of the water. It scares me. I don't know what's underneath there. I don't know what's underneath my feet. No. I am staying my ass on the land. Do not try to get me on a cruise. Oh, it's fun. It's fun. Have you seen Titanic? Because I have. No, thank you. No, not for me. So the thought that, oh my gosh, that's how I'm going to die. I don't want to die that way. I mean, I know we don't get to say how we die, but anyway, okay, that's beside the point. Okay. So here's the deal. So then he tells Noah, I need you to build this. So think about this. I want to say, I'm going to double check, but I'm pretty sure like was it 100 years? It took a long time for him to build this boat. This is a big boat. So he's over here building this boat. Could you imagine someone just sitting outside their house? You've never seen it rain. You don't know what a flood, you don't know any of this. And he's just hammering away making this. And then where did he have the space? That's my next question. Did you buy the property to build it? Okay. These are the things that go in my head when I read these stories. Okay. Cause I'm real with it. I need to know the whole picture. You can't just tell me one thing. And that's the thing. Like Noah just was like, God's like, go build a boat. He's like, cool. I got you. And he starts building. I'd be like, excuse me. I have a question. So what is a boat? Why do I need a boat? And why do you think that I'm skilled enough to do it? But give me the whole plan, and then I'll think about it. But Noah just did it, so that's the difference. You're not going to just tell me to do something. And, you're God, so you can. But man, I don't listen like that. I need the whole picture, the beginning, the middle, and the end, so I'll get a full picture. That is just how my brain works. So go Noah for being obedient. So wouldn't you have thought he was crazy? Like seeing this guy just building it, and he's just like, yep, it's going to rain. So I double checked to clarify. Yeah, it was almost 100 years there's different versions. Some people say, oh, it was 85. Some says 100. Some says 120. So I just said, okay, let's do 100. So even if it takes you 100 years every day, and you're like, how did it take 100 years? We don't live until we're 100. Well, back then, before the flood, people lived long. Like I think Noah, what was he, 900? Hold on, I believe that's what Noah was. So God decided after that, I'm shortening your lifespan. You guys are too much. So that is kind of explains a little bit more. But picture it. You see this man every day building this boat, just going at it. And think about it. He didn't have modern tools. Now we have all kinds of stuff. And you know what's kind of funny is like you look at like all these other buildings, you're like, wow, I can't believe they made that. Like these huge skyscrapers was such a big deal. But here he is building a boat with whatever he had, and it's wood and all that. Okay, hats off to you, Noah, because I would be like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this, God. You chose the wrong one. And here's the thing. When it comes to you and what God has put on your heart, he did not choose the wrong one. Okay. He knows what he's talking about. And a lot of times we don't believe it in ourselves because we're not doing it within ourselves. We're doing it within his power. So that is a tidbit that I've learned in my 40 plus years of life. It's a process. So now it comes time all of a sudden. Oh, wait, I should go back up. Noah's told to gather 2 of every kind of animal, like a male and female, so that when after the flood and everybody is gone, that they can repopulate the earth with, whoever was able to be on the boat and the animals. Okay. So he's gathering. Now, how do you gather all those animals? Like, were they all like within the same area, or did you have to go hunt? Like, I have questions when I get to heaven. I have questions because it's just, I don't know how he did it. I don't know. He did it with God. So God can do anything, but okay. So he gathers it, and then he has to get food. Think about it. He has to get food for all these people, all these animals, all, his family and his son's family, his sons and their wives, and can you imagine? Can you imagine all that food and all that stuff? Oh, that's a job. That's a job. Anyway, I don't know how he did it. Was this his full-time job or was it his part-time job? Okay. It doesn't matter. I have to tell myself, it doesn't matter, Desana. It does not matter. Go with the story. Okay. So it starts raining. Just first a little bit, and then God's like, go get in the boat. So he gets everybody gets in the boat. And then it says God shut them in. After everybody and every animal is on the boat, God shut them in. Can you imagine? And that part, when I read that, I was like, oh, because think about it. If you care about people, if you don't care, you're like, you're on your own. God told you, bye, good luck. It probably wouldn't bother you. But me, I'd be wanting to open the boat, be like, let them in. They're sorry. But here's the thing. They had how long to make a decision? And finally, it's like, okay, time's up. Because there is going to be a time in our life that our time is up. And who do we put our faith in? Ourselves? Or do we put it in the God of the universe who loves us and who brought Jesus through to die for our sins? Okay? It's your choice. At the end of the day, I'm not making you do nothing. I'm just putting it out there. You take it, you can throw it away, but that's on you. Okay. So I bet people were like banging on that. Oh, we're sorry, no. And they can't come because they had a chance and boom, gone. So then it rains for 40 days and 40 nights. 40 days and 40 nights. You're just in this boat. Do you think it was funky? Like, I know that it's called the Ark, but I call it the funky boat. Because think about it. You're in there. You're in here. They didn't have showers. They didn't have bidets. Like, where is all this going? Like, what is going on here? And then you got all these animals, and they probably stinky, and they got all these people, and no, I'm sorry. I need a shower of a day, Jesus. Can we make a truce and say, I go in this ark, but there's got to be a shower and there's got to be a bidet so that I could, yeah. Okay. So they are in this funky boat, aka the ark, Noah's Ark, the Ark of Redemption. Tristana calls it funky, but okay. But it's factual. Think about it. Okay. Back to the story, guys. So they are in this, basically they're in the ark for like a year, y'all. A year. You know, every day after work, I have to come home and I have to decompress and I need my me time. And I need to be away from everybody. And I know it's because of their ADHD and things like that I just am over highly sensitive. But you're going to have me with these people for a year. I don't know. I think I would have drowned. Because I'm like that. I'd be like that. Okay, so anyway, it rains, and then there's a beautiful story about Noah sending out a raven, a bird, let's just say that. And then and it comes back because there's nowhere to land because, you know, everything still has water everywhere. And then later he sends out a dove, and the dove comes back with an olive branch showing that there is trees and things. So they get out of the boat and they're so grateful. You know, we got out. Can you imagine what would be the first thing you did when you got off that boat? I'd probably run away. I'd be like, okay, I know you're my family, but I gotta go. So Noah's grateful. He makes the sacrifice, and there's a whole thing about sacrifices. We'll talk about it later. I'm just trying to kind of go over it instead of go deep into the story because there's so many chunks of things and beautiful things when you read scripture and you really sit there and you pull back and keep reading. It's amazing. But I'm trying to give you guys a shortened version, and it's called the Drasana version because this is not how Jesus was. Well, Jesus wasn't there yet, but when he was there, because he's always there. Anyway, this is just my version, okay? You want a different version? There's plenty. Just go for it. Go look at YouTube. You go wherever you want. Okay. So they sacrifice, and God promises. Here's the thing. God once again promises a covenant. There's a rainbow. So the whole point of the rainbow is that was his promise that he would never flood the earth again. He would never flood the earth again. Once again, he's making a promise, a covenant with us who do not stick by him. I know I haven't. I mean, he's promised me I'll never leave you, never forsake you. I have. I mean, I have this picture of God just shaking his head like, where are you going now? Get home. Get your behind over here. I have told you, stop acting like that. But I don't listen because I'm stubborn. I don't trust people. Anyway, so it's just so beautiful that in spite of ourselves, God is still faithful every single time. And I can tell you that in my own life over and over and over again. Okay. So this is the part where it gets juicy. Well, to me, it's juicy. Maybe not to you, but to me it is. So they're on the land. Noah starts farming. He makes a vineyard, gardening a vineyard. And you know what he does, y'all? He gets drunk. He gets drunker than a skunk. He is drunk to the point that he's naked, but naked. And so one of the sons comes out and was like, oh my gosh, look at dad, guys. He tells his brothers, come look at dad. And they're like shamed. And so they don't even look at their dad. They grab a blanket and they cover their dad. They walk in backwards to just show him honor and respect that they're not going to have their dad out there, being naked in front of everybody. This ain't Adam and Eve. This is after. Okay. So we ain't just hanging out here butt naked. So he wakes up. And the son, Noah, wakes up and he's told, and he basically curses that son that didn't honor him. So it's really a fascinating story, because here's the thing: Noah was obedient. Nathan, that's my son's name. Sorry, Noah. He did what God told him to do, and he also made some choices and decisions that were probably crazy and wild, when he's over there drinking and drunk and naked. I mean, that's not the best choice. I know my kids don't want to see that. Absolutely not. Not their old mama. Okay. So, moral of the story. With all that being said, the Noah's story is a picture of Jesus' redemption. It really is. And here's another thing. The world that we see today, that is so crazy. You can turn on the news. First of all, let me tell you, don't be watching that news so much, because our bodies were never meant to take that much darkness and stuff in our bodies, because it's a lot, because we can't handle all that. We just mentally can't. It's a load that we are not. We just pray for the people. I'm not saying being in denial, but I'm also saying this world is out of control. Okay? But no matter how bad it looks outside, or on the news, or on the radio. Do you guys even still listen to the radio? Okay. I do on the way to work, but it's more like podcasts and my music from Pandora or Amazon Music. But that's me. Okay. So trust that God has a plan. His plan came to fruition through Jesus, because once again, I've told you guys, God requires perfection. I'm not perfect. You are not perfect. Nobody on this earth is perfect. The only one that was perfect was Jesus. And that is because in order for us to have a relationship with God, we needed redemption. And that's what Jesus did when he came here in human form, died on a cross, rose again, and on that cross, he took our sins. Something you could never do is make yourself right. But God did it within himself. It's just a beautiful story. So I want you to sit with that. Okay? Okay. This is The Messy Middle, where grace meets chaos and I stop pretending I have it all together. Sometimes it's a story. Sometimes it's a confession. Sometimes it's just me trying to make sense of the mess. Okay, you guys. I'm telling you. I know I didn't post last week because it's been crazy in my home at the moment. Going through a lot with my kids. And it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. So I was sitting here, and I like to kind of weave some of the stories that I experienced in connection to the stories that I'm going to tell, or the books of the Bible I'm going to tell. And I was like, how am I going to explain what happened to me this last week and connect it to Noah? Because I went through something, and I was like, oh, this is me. Because here's the thing. Have you ever known something to be true and people didn't believe you, and they were cruel to you sometimes? Oh, you're crazy, or you're this, or you're that, and da 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 da. And you just take it and you just keep pushing, because you're like, I know I'm right in this situation. And not as like a vindication, like I know I'm right and you're wrong. Not like that. But in your heart of hearts, you know you're right, and people just ignore you. That's very frustrating. So like I see that in Noah, like for 100 years, he's just sitting there building, and he probably got all those splinters in his fingers. And he's like, I wonder if he ever doubted, like, really? Or did he have faith the whole time? Because I haven't had faith the whole time. I'm going to be honest with you guys. With what has happened in my life, was like, really? I don't know where God was when I was going through it. Now on the other side, I can see it clearly, but sometimes we don't get that on this side of heaven. And thankfully I got that. So what am I talking about? Am I just rambling about some crazy things in my life? Yes, I am. But let me share something real quick. So last time I shared a little bit about my son and some things that were going on with him. And I'm trying to be respectful. But I want, because it is my story too, but I don't want to take his story and be like, it's my story. But it was my experience. So I'm just going to say it. Okay. So not my youngest, my oldest struggled since he was young and struggled. And I'll give the story because now he's an adult. So I'm trying to like, okay, where does this come into play and but I'll tell you my side and my version of what I saw. So when my oldest was younger, and this is my first child, and you have to remember, I'm going through the toughest time of my life, going through postpartum depression, going through my husband at the time leaving me for another woman. Yes, going through just the worst time of my life. And I have this child who I can tell needs extra help. He didn't make eye contact. He was very like everything had to be just so and lined up just so, all of his toys and, his speech. And there was just so many things that I knew, okay, this is a little bit different. And in the midst of all of it, I'm going through a heartbreak and I'm going through a mental health crisis with everything going on. And yet every single day I still got up, I still got his breakfast going, I still took him to school, did all of the things that required. And he was so angry and so anxious. So I would have him swim. This is when I lived with my parents. They had a pool in their units or in their just whatever their condo, and I would take him swimming every day just to get that angst out of him. And I'm telling you guys, I would pray every day, just crying over him, like, God, use this baby for something bigger than me, because it was hard because I'm doing it by myself. Thank God I had help with family, like financially and stuff like that. But being a single mom when he didn't plan it and all these things. So anyway, so he got kicked out of 3 schools for behavior. It was a lot. It was a lot, you guys. It was a lot. And it feels like yesterday when I tell it, but it was hard. It was hard stuff. And during that time, his pediatrician recommended that he be what's it called? What am I trying to say? Evaluated in UCLA, because I lived in California at the time, which is a great place. Like UCLA, oh my gosh, that would have been perfect, for tests for autism. And I'll never forget, I told his dad, and at the time, I think we were divorced by that time, now that I'm thinking about it, because it was in our divorce decree that we both had medical decision making. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I'd have to look. It's been a minute, but I had asked him like, hey, this is what Nathan's, I was going to give you my other son's name, Nathan's pediatrician is recommending. And like for him to be evaluated and because they're saying some things. And his dad just refused. He's like, nope, there's nothing wrong with him. You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. And of course, me being vulnerable because I was going through just my own mental health struggles at the time because I didn't understand what mental health was and depression and anxiety. And, I felt like a mess. I felt like I wasn't a good mom. I did. I really felt, okay, I don't want to get emotional, but I really felt, I don't know, I'm getting emotional about it. It's been so many years. That he deserved better than me. That maybe I was the crazy one, maybe I was the crazy one. But I wasn't, okay, bitches, I wasn't. Well, a little bit. Therapy medication, Jesus helped out. But anyway, I doubted myself so much, you guys. I doubted as a parent, like, God, are you sure this is the baby I'm supposed to? Are you sure that I'm going to be a good enough mom for this child? And let me tell you, it was hard, guys. So I am with you, mamas. I see you. Gosh, I'm with you. Oh, bless your hearts, mama. Not in the bad way, because bless your heart means you stupid, but you ain't. I'm not saying that in this situation. I'm just saying bless your heart because it's hard, okay? Okay. So, fast forward, my son had gotten kicked out. I told you he got kicked out of schools. He was in special needs classes. It was just a lot. And then, he was very angry. He was very, very angry with me. And I had decided to move to another state. And I just thought he was going to come with me. I did. I thought he would just come with me. And he wanted to be with his dad. He wanted to be with his dad. And it was, there's a court. It was a whole thing. You guys, it was a whole thing. And I, once again, felt like a failure because he wanted to go with his dad. And it was actually the best thing. Because one, I can't teach a boy to be a man, but it was also a good thing for him to have that time with his dad because I had raised him, you know. Anyway, fast forward. We have a good relationship now, and he appreciates everything I did. I mean, I have stories. I could tell you stories. If you want stories of D and Nate, mama being crazy, pulling him out of Knott's Berry Farm because he was wilding out, I have plenty of those. But anyway, back to the story. So, point being, things had come to light, and I was like, he really needs to get evaluated. Fast forward to today. You know, he's 24 now. And you know what, you guys? I was right. I was right about the needs of my child that everybody else ignored, that everybody else made me feel like I was the problem. And I'm not telling you I'm perfect. Please, I have stories for days. I'm not perfect. But here's the thing. Being a good mom may not look like what you think it looks like. Oh, we're doing this and we're doing this. Being a good mom is waking up every day, being tired, being overwhelmed, and still doing what needs to get done to take care of your baby. And so I see myself as a different mom because I did the thing even though I didn't feel like it. I watched his diet. I'm not telling you what to do. I watched his diet. I put him in therapy to talk to somebody. I had him exercise. We worked on his communication. And so I did all the things I could do. Was I perfect? No. Did I feel like I was a good mom? Absolutely not. I thought I was the worst mom ever. And here it is. This bitch was right. Okay. So take that, mofo. That's what I want to say. Because all this time, I have felt like the other parent was better. And that the other parent knew him better than I did. Didn't trust my gut. Okay? To bring it all together, you know your children better than anybody. God put it in your heart to have those babies and to do right by those babies. But if you're a bad mama, I'm going to go on a tangent. If you're a bad mama, I'm not saying you're not perfect. I'm talking about when you're going to end up on Law and Order SVU. Give that baby up for adoption. Someone wants that baby. Okay. I'm not talking to you because there are some bad mamas out there. You're a bad mama if you're going to be on Law and Order. Okay. SVU. Anyway. But if you're a mom that's just struggling, reach out to me. You guys, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. And I'll put that in later. Email me. If you just want someone to talk about stuff, like I read all my emails and just know you're not alone in this journey. I've been there. I got you. And more than that, God's got you. All you have to do is ask. That's it. All you have to do is ask. In this version of the messy middle, brought to you with this messy mouth. Woo, that was a hard one, y'all. That was a hard one. I didn't know it was going to get that deep and bring me back to that time, but it did because we're being real, right? And it's very truth. It's the truth. And so I'm being vulnerable here, and I appreciate you guys listening. And just know that it does get better. It does. I promise you. I'm in such a different place. I'm so thankful for that time. So, if today's episode spoke to you, or you have any questions, comments, thoughts, just anything you'd like to share, go ahead and email me at verytruthpod@gmail.com. I read every message. You can also follow me on on all the things, all the Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I know that's not how you say it. YouTube, Very Truth Pod. That's where you'll find it. And until next time, you guys, stay curious and stay rooted in truth.